Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Make It Monday with the South Dakota Agricultural Heritage Museum. My name is Sarah, and I'm the Education Coordinator, and I'm really excited to have you here today so that we can make a fun bee craft. And so last week, I read this book on a read aloud through our museum webpage and our YouTube channel, and it's called Give Bees a Chance by Bethany Barton. And that kind of inspired me to keep focusing on pollinators this week. I've seen a lot of bees outside lately and other pollinators that are hard at work and pollinating our different crops and plants and flowers and things we have outside right now growing. And so I thought I'd keep the fun going with a fun heart-shaped bee craft. And so if you want to listen to this book or read this book, you can buy it anywhere that books are sold that has it in stock, or you can simply go over to our webpage at agmuseum.com or find us on YouTube and listen to me read this book in the video. So like I said, today we're going to keep the focus on pollinators and make a bee shape or a heart-shaped bee craft. And so like I do every week, I'll go over what supplies you need, and then we'll go ahead and get started. The first thing that you'll need is some construction paper. I'm using up some scraps that I have today, and so you'll need yellow construction paper, you'll need some white construction paper, and you'll also need some black construction paper. I would use either construction paper or cardstock because it's a little thicker, and so it's a little easier to work with, especially if you're working with little ones for this craft. You'll need a scissors. You'll need some glue, and I'm using a glue stick today. That seems to work pretty well when you're working with paper products. And then you'll also need a black marker. You can use a washable marker. Today I'm using a permanent marker. It just depends on what age kiddos you're working with and what you feel most comfortable using on your own. So we don't have a lot of supplies this week, which is great because these should be things that you can find throughout your house. If you don't have the different colors of paper, that's not a huge deal. You can always cut all your shapes out and then color them in yellow and black as you go along if needed. So let's go ahead and get started. You'll be cutting some different shapes for the first step out of your 3 different shades of construction paper. And so I'll walk you through, I already have these pre-cut, but I'll walk you through exactly what you're looking to cut out of these colors. So we're going to start with white. And out of the white, I cut just a simple plain old heart. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but I made my heart like this. You can make it any shape or size you want to, as long as you get this heart shape. You can make it skinny, you can make it fat, you can make it any shape you want. After you get a yellow or a white heart cut, the next thing you'll do is get a yellow heart cut. And so I actually just used this white heart as a template and traced it right onto a yellow sheet of paper using my marker and then cut that out. And so then you'll have a white heart and a yellow heart. After you get those 2 hearts cut out, you will take your heart and you'll cut off the top part of your heart. So these 2 arches on the top, and you'll end up with a shape like this. And it looks kind of like an ice cream cone. So like the cone part at the bottom and your ice cream on top. But basically you want it to look like this when you're done. So I've stacked the 2 on top of each other. Like you can see, I've cut the top part of the yellow heart off, so it looks like my ice cream cone. And that way, when you glue this together later, this top part of the white heart will actually be your wings on your bee. And so that's why you cut those off on the yellow one. So as you can see here, I've got that already done and pre-cut. The next thing you'll need to do is cut your pieces out of your black paper. And so I have some bee stripes cut out. I cut these at 1/2 inch wide, and then I cut them however wide I needed, depending on how big you want your bee to be. I only need 3 stripes for the size of bee that I made today. And if you have a bigger bee, you can cut more strips. If you have a smaller bee, you can cut less, but I have 3 cut out today. And then the other things you'll need to cut out of your black are your antenna for your bee. And so I have 2 strips that are 1/4 of an inch wide. And so I've got those already cut out. And then to add a few more hearts into our project, I have these 2 little black hearts that are cut out right here that will be the top of the antenna. And so I've got all my pieces cut out so we can go ahead and start gluing things together. So I'm going to go ahead and take the lid off of my glue stick here. Put my glue up there so we're good to go. The first thing that you're going to work on, and I always like to take like a scratch piece of paper and glue on there so that you don't get your table covered in glue. The first thing you're going to do is make your antenna. And so I'm going to take my 2 1/4 inch strips and lay them down on my glue sheet here. I'm going to take my glue and I'm just going to put some glue on like the top 1/2 inch of your strip, and then you're going to go ahead and glue your heart right on. So then you should have a 1/4 inch strip with a heart at the top. So you'll do that with both of your antenna pieces here. And so I've got those 2 ready to go. Now that I have done these, I'm going to go ahead and glue those on the back of my yellow bee body. And so I'm just going to put some glue on the back of the bee body here. And then add an antenna on each side. So then I've got those on. So now I've got my antenna on my bee body. The next thing you'll do is you'll attach your bee body onto your big white heart so that you can have wings. So I'm going to go ahead and keep gluing on the back. Make sure you get it nice and covered here so it sticks well. You can see I've got my purple glue all over the back here. So now I'll go ahead and glue this down. So the bottom of your, or the pointy side of the heart on both the yellow and the white should match right up. And so you can see that now I've got my bee body attached to my wings and I've got the antenna in the back, so they're ready to go. The next thing that we're going to do is add some stripes. And so I'm going to go ahead and take my 1/2 inch strips, and again I'm going to put them down here on this scratch sheet of paper so that if I get a little extra glue on there, it's totally fine. But I'm just going to go ahead and add those stripes right on as straight as I can. And if you don't get them 100% straight, that's okay. As long as you get them kind of straight on there, you should be good to go. So now I'm going to add my second stripe on. And I'm going to go ahead and do my third one now. You'll notice as you're gluing these stripes on that the stripes are going out beyond the edge of where your heart comes together at a point at the bottom. And that's totally okay, because your next step here is going to be taking your scissors and actually following along the edge of your heart so that you can cut these into the length that they need to be. So you're just trimming those off. They will be a little bit sticky because the glue hasn't had a full chance to dry here. So I'm just sticking those down on my scratch sheet of paper. But it's a little easier to do it this way versus trying to cut them all the right length before you get them glued on. And so now you can see I've got my bee body with my little bee stripes here. And so we're actually done with the gluing process once you get your stripes added on. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut this up. You're also done with your scissors, so you can set those aside. And the next step is using your marker to add in some facial features. And so it's going to be a good idea to add 2 eyes and then a smiley face for a mouth. And you can always cut these out of paper as well too if you feel like it. That's completely up to you. And then I'm just going to add in my smile here. So I've got my cute little heart-shaped bee craft done here. So that was really easy and simple to do if you follow these directions. If you have any questions on these directions or any of the other activities that we've done for Make It Monday or Thinking Thursday, you can always contact me. Again, Sarah, the Education Coordinator at the South Dakota Agricultural Heritage Museum. It was great to have you here with me for another episode of Make It Monday today, and we hope to see you next week. Bye.